Hi, welcome to Awaken Health Pod. I'm Jennifer Grogan, Integrative Health Coach with Greenleaf Wellness here in Central Illinois. And with me is Shanna Scordel, Integrative Health Coach with Inspire Wellness for You, all the way in Arizona. How are ya?
I'm good. We may be having some volume sound quality difficulties today. If that's the case, please bear with us. Turn up your volume if you need to. We will be working through these quirks. But today we're going to talk a little bit about IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, and just some ways that you can support elements that come along with IBS. Just some natural things to do, to be mindful about, to learn a little bit about, for example, what it is. So IBS is painful. It's abdominal pain, and mainly around the belly button area. A lot of times cramping comes with this, and bloating, especially after you eat. Sometimes you can get massive bloating actually, and other GI symptoms that are pretty uncomfortable, pretty painful, difficult to deal with. And we're hoping a little bit today of what we share with you will be helpful and beneficial to help, aid and soothe some of these symptoms.
Well, it affects everybody differently. So I know like 50% of people that do have it, not everybody's going to get, the major gas and the diarrhea with it. So it just really depends on who you are and how it affects you. Food plays a huge trigger in that. Also anxiety, stress, because we hold our stress and anxiety in our gut. So that throws off the bacteria in our gut as well. So I know for me, back in my 20s, maybe early 30s, I had my bouts of IBS, and it was very uncomfortable. I mean, it was running to the bathroom, always just interrupted everything, and I think for me, looking back now at my age then, was identifying and going, okay, well, I had a lot of anxiety and a lot of stress because my mom passed away when I was 27, and I was pregnant with Gabe, my first. He's 16 now, and so my dad passed away 6 months before Gabe was born. So I had all that emotional tie, all that stress and anxiety, and I was just finding myself in unusual circumstances, like going on vacation and having to use the men's room because you couldn't get to the women's room, and praying that nobody would walk in or that someone would guard the door for you. And it was just so uncomfortable. And it's not just affects your vacations, but it can also affect those to be like shy away from wanting to be intimate, because you never know when those bouts are going to flare up. And so it's just one of those, looking back, the stress and anxiety I had, the wrong food choices. And so I know now, stay low on the anxiety and the stress, monitor your food. So I identified with the spicy foods, like chili, Mexican food. I had to be really cautious of when I eat those, to what it is that I'm eating, the red sauces, the cheese sauces. So I avoid all of that as much as possible. And too much red meat can aggravate my stomach. So when you identify what to take out, it plays a huge factor on how you're going to feel. So just because you have IBS, some of you probably don't have the bouts of the diarrhea, but it is very common with it. But once you can get it under control, you can gain your life back, and it's very peaceful when that happens. But
Yeah,
I know it affects women differently because of our hormones. That plays a huge factor in it. So people might notice around their menstrual cycle, they get a little more of the bloating and the gas and going to the bathroom and stuff like that. So kind of
yeah,
uncomfortable.
I know, definitely.
But, yeah.
And stress, like you said, is so important with the gut health. But also in the gut, in the GI, an imbalance in bacteria can really contribute to GI symptoms, similar and with IBS. Sometimes frequent use of antibiotics for various reasons can contribute to IBS as well. And really inflammation. So we know that sugar increases inflammation, Prescriptions can increase inflammation. Even having a really low fiber intake can increase inflammation. And so many different things, such as C-sections, during delivery, for childbirth. But it's just important, that's why we say to keep sugars down, to avoid inflammation, to increase your fiber take. It really does aid in the support with IBS and managing, these negative ailments that are really uncomfortable, like you said. So with that imbalance in the microbiome, Bifidobacterium is a really good bacteria that when overpopulated, when you have a strong strand of that, you're not having an overpopulation of bad bacteria. You're having more bacteria that's beneficial to your body. And this can help soothe the lining and the cells in the gut. So what happens is sometimes with IBS, leaky gut, SIBO, we have weak cellular lining, and that's what contributes to toxins going into the bloodstream, which contributes to fatigue, weakness, all of these things that I believe go with IBS and just make you feel horrible. So that's really important, is just really focusing on inflammation, making sure you're absorbing your nutrients. Even like you said with you for red meat, which is something that we digest at a slow pace. I'm wondering if that's kind of what makes it even more difficult for you when you have those flare-ups.
Yeah, I agree. I think the pH is a little off. So I try to eat more vegetables and chicken and turkey if possible. But, there's those occasions where I do eat it and I'm just, kind of go with the flow. But I've improved a lot over the years. I don't really have issues with it. If I do have, I call it my detox day. I mean, because you're not going to eat 100% healthy all the time. But, you were talking about fiber. I think fiber is really important because it breaks everything down and it softens it, and to have it travel out as a whole,
right?
Not with the excess. But
right.
Fiber from the fruits and vegetables, depending on which ones, can cause the abdominal bloating and the gas. So it's really important to know which ones those are. So for some, it could be like your onions, your garlics, your broccoli, cauliflower, corn. I avoid corn at all possible. So just knowing what makes you feel ill and staying away.
Yeah.
So it's really important. And caffeine, like people like their chocolates and coffee, but a lot of people use coffee as a laxative to go in the morning, right? So if you have IBS, the last thing you want in the morning is coffee, because now you just set your whole entire system to run to the bathroom because you got irritable bowel and you just flared it up. So what you start your day off is really important for the gut lining.
Yeah, exactly. And even digestive enzymes, making sure that you're chewing your food, that your stomach acids are working properly, because digestion starts in the mouth with saliva. So sometimes I know people who have supplemented with digestive enzymes to help aid with those flare-ups with irritable bowel syndrome. The same goes as probiotics. Sometimes they're very beneficial in helping IBS. It's also good to know, though, that believe it or not, there's a lot of micronutrient deficiencies that are associated with the onset of IBS, really primarily vitamin D, zinc, magnesium deficiencies, and even if you have a heavy metal toxicity, these can contribute to imbalance in the gut, IBS, IBD, irritable bowel disease. IBS is a form of an IBD. And so knowing, what nutrients really help support this issue is important too, so that way those can be focused on. You mentioned some foods. Anti-inflammatory foods are always, I think, just always a great choice for antioxidants, cellular function, reducing inflammation in the body. You can have inflammation in your joints, you can have it in your gut, you can have it in different areas. Some of my favorite anti-inflammatory foods are artichoke, asparagus, avocado I love, and I know it's so healthy, but I'm wondering if there's like a histamine effect there with me specifically, because sometimes I'll have some skin issues flare up if I have too much avocado, and I'm really trying to pay attention to that. But just a few more: bok choy, cucumbers, olives, and turnips and oranges are some anti-inflammatory foods. Some of my personal favorites.
I know. I sent you a picture of my anti-inflammatory salad last night.
Oh, that was so good.
Because I was moving lettuce, my celery, my radish, my white onion. I was getting sweet onions for a long time, and then took that Viome DNA, and it came back. No, don't do those onions. Do the white onions because that's more anti-inflammatory. So I make sure to put them in there than my carrot. So
I want the personalized effect with Viome. I'm getting ready to retest. I can't wait. So
yeah. And beans. A lot of beans are good for you. It's a great protein. However, it can cause a lot of gas and bloating. So is it baking? So I think it was baking soda you can sprinkle in with it when you're cooking, and then it diminishes the effect of the gas. So if you like beans and you know you're grumpy because you're bloated and gassy, put some baking soda in there and it should help you out a little bit.
Yeah, rinsing them, sprouting them, soaking them, possibly putting a little bit of vinegar. I would have to check, but I would think that would help. And just not eating them really hot, letting them cool down is all helpful ways to get your beans in. But there'd be a good choice for fiber, wouldn't they, as well?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, I think dairy is a sensitive subject for people with IBS. It's probably something to try yourself, eliminating certain foods, certain products, and seeing what works best for you as an individual. You did mention coffee in the sense of a laxative, and sometimes people will take laxatives. Too much laxatives, like to the point where you're reliant on them, it's not good. It's not beneficial. It just really kind of disrupts and dysregulates the functioning of the digestive and bowel, and that can kind of contribute to IBS pretty bad. It has a lot of weight if you'd have too much laxatives in that area, because it's just kind of, things aren't functioning properly, and, it increases those ill effects that some people struggle with.
Now the FODMAP foods, I can post on the link whenever we post the video here, but the FODMAP foods are supposed to be really good at diminishing the bloating and the gas and stuff. So if you're reading the list and you realize you're not incorporating most of those and you're going with the wrong foods, make sure you get more in there. But it'll be the good foods and the ones to avoid. So if you can make a little list when you're grocery shopping of maybe trying out the new on the good list, and then avoid everything that you're not supposed to be eating off the list. So I'll post those when we put the video up.
Yeah, those are helpful. There's low and high FODMAP. I think there's even in between, but be mindful of this. This isn't something that you want to, use as a diet where you eat it every day long term. You want to have a diverse range of foods, different bacterias in your gut. So diversity is really helpful. The low FODMAP is really helpful, kind of to just switch things up, get things in gear, change up the bacteria, but not to be relied on long term. But it's definitely, I would say, it's going to support the gut, support inflammation as well, because a lot of the anti-inflammatory foods are on the low FODMAP diet.
Right. And we'll put those up there for you.
Especially for those who deal with digestive issues like IBS, losing weight, reducing inflammation. Again, losing weight's important to be able to better absorb your nutrients from either the foods or supplements you may be taking. Balancing your blood sugar, being mindful of your fasted glucose in the morning, checking it out, seeing how your range is, how your up and down is. Balancing your blood sugar is hugely beneficial to dealing with IBS. The variety of foods we mentioned, the high fiber foods, certain fibers are really good. And just taking a water bottle and warming it up and rolling it on your belly is a really good tactic to kind of soothe that discomfort. And I did mention vitamin D deficiency. This Granada I keep in my purse at all times and take it. So vitamin D deficiency, you guys can look that up and see how it coincides with IBS as well.
A lot of it's hereditary. So if anyone in your family has ever had it, like your parents, grandparents, chances are you're going to get it. And it affects more people under the age of 50. And I highly believe that's because of the high pace. We're just in high pace mode all the time.
Yeah.
You know, people rush to work, people go to work, they're stressed out, they rush home, we go there, here. And there's no sense of balance. You're eating the wrong foods. And if you have a deadline at work and you're eating the wrong food, now you're stressed, you got anxiety, and then it's just slow down. It's like it goes all the way back to what we were saying all the other podcasts is breathe. Pay attention to your surroundings and just really be mindful of everything and take more note of your body and give yourself more love and just of knowing, you know what, I don't need to be this busy. It's not worth my health. And so, it's no fun to have it. And it does affect a lot of people, but there are ways of managing it and getting rid of it. So.
Yeah, and like you said, being so busy. So our digestive system, it basically shuts itself off if we're doing anything else. If we're busy, if we've had too much coffee and we've got high cortisol levels and our blood pressure is going, if we have an infection, if we're not sleeping. So giving your body that relaxed state of mind, being peaceful, getting good sleep, that is when your body can go, okay, I'm not doing anything else. Now we can go focus on digestion. And so that is huge for bloating and inflammation and weight gain. I mean, bloating's terribly uncomfortable. I've had it before where it's like I'm bloated like here down, not just in my stomach, And so missing the urge to use the bathroom. Sometimes if we're so busy in the morning and caught up and we go on the go, we forget to go and we miss the urge. So I was kind of just studying how just taking it easy in the morning after you digested all night long and being mindful of when that urge comes on, take the opportunity to just kind of take your time and use the bathroom. I think this is really important, just the little things.
Because what happens is rushing and you don't get to the bathroom that morning, and then you're going through the whole day and miserable. Well, guess what? Eventually you're going to be doing something and all of a sudden it's going to hit you and your whole day is ruined and you're going to be like, oh my gosh. So just, like you said, time.
Yeah.
Don't rush. Let your body just relax enough to help you out.
Exactly. L-glutamine can be found in grass-fed meat, which makes me question because, for many people, too much meat isn't helpful. Wild seafood, which is a little bit leaner, some of the anti-inflammatory properties, and L-glutamine works on a cellular level. So it's been found that, pretty frequently that is something that aids in support for individuals who, need extra health support in the area of IBS. So that's something that, you can message Jen or myself. You can ask for free information or an article. We're happy to share an article with you, or you can look something up yourself. And again, we always encourage you that if you learn something new, just let us know. Or if we kind of spiked the urge to go study a little bit, let us know, what worked for you. And we appreciate that a lot as well. Let's see. So I think for leaky gut and SIBO, something that's really common is removing, sometimes it's gluten, dairy, eggs, knowing your food intolerances. You can get a GI test for that. You can get a food intolerance test for that. You can be mindful and pay attention and do the elimination diet. There's a lot of things you can do. So removing those triggers and those irritants. I think I'm missing one, but then it's which one?
Boy.
I'm not sure because it's reduce
Oh, you're talking
Reinoculate and repair. I'm missing one. It's the 4 R's. Anyway, so reinoculate is when you want to, kind of reduce, let it be sensitive, give it a break, and then you reinoculate those good bacterias, maybe diverse bacterias, to kind of better balance your own microbiome for what your body is needing at that time, because our gut bacteria shifts frequently with different foods we're eating at different times of the year. But most of the time, it's stress. It's being on the go, too much caffeine, not enough nutrients, not enough relaxation, not digesting, not absorbing, just chronic stress. And so, just again, using the roller technique with a warm water bottle is helpful. Eating slowly and eating mindfully, so we're not eating on the go while we're in, mid appointment or whatnot. Just trying to avoid distractions when you're eating and interruptions. I've shared this with clients, a lot. It's just important because your body can kind of dictate and enjoy the meal when it's full. You're more likely to absorb a better nutrient intake and your organ health. So supporting your, go
try
ahead.
the fiber. Fiber's good. Try fiber because you want it to be more solid when it comes out, loose, solid, but not like excessive. So if you can increase your fiber, get the water soluble fibers if you can't get enough vegetables and fruits, but just really identify what those vegetables and fruits are that's causing you to eat and then get rid of them. So I know a lot of people do the Whole30. I don't do diets, but like if you wanted one that would help get rid of like the sugar and get you back to the basics, the Whole30 is pretty good about that. So
I love
tried that before.
Yeah, I've experienced it for the full 30 days, but I still recommend Whole30 for recipes because they're all low sugar, and then you can kind of pick, if you need to, paleo, keto, gluten-free, this, that, and the other. But I love the Whole30 because they're all low sugar.
That's awesome. Yeah, so if you're one that needs to cut back and that you need to cut back on sugar, try that one out, or but not long term. So
yeah. Some people do 80-20, some people do 90-10. I think you focus on 90%, good. And
yeah,
so we're human. You need to enjoy life. You need to enjoy events and, have a splurge. Sometimes I call it a splurge instead of a treat because, like having 3 young children. Oh, I want this. It's a treat. I'm like, it's really not a treat because it's terrible for you. It's going to make you feel terrible. It's going to make us, have some, friction there with those attitudes and hyperness that can come with all that. So it's scary, knowing what I know about health and food. And I try to tell the kids, it's really not a treat. It's a splurge. I'll stick with that, overindulge a little bit. But knowing how you feel, and everybody's different. So just having a list of foods that work for you and don't. And then when you do go somewhere and people have cooked and slaved blood, sweat, and tears in the kitchen, and there's only foods there that are gonna give you a flare up, be firm. Just say, thank you so much. I'd love to help you clean up after. Unfortunately for me, that doesn't sit well with my body, and I'm going to pass, but please don't be offended. I know it's difficult, especially with certain cultures, but sometimes, risking what happens to you isn't as important as that 1 hour, event.
Yeah. And if you are stressful, take self-care days, get a massage, help relax. And then you'll hopefully start noticing a balance. But what you eat does affect how you feel big time.
Yeah.
So it's really important to zone in on those.
Yeah. And I mean, we feel for anyone dealing with IBS because it's a struggle, it's a battle, it's long-term, and sometimes people suffer for this lifelong. Some of these tips may not work, but hopefully you find relief and you're able to kind of carry on with your daily life without being affected so much. Did you have anything else, or did
Yes, I agree. So no, I think I'm good. So yeah, you?
I think we're good. We just kind of hit some of the basics today.
I think that's the most important, is keeping it at the basic level, because just easier to take in the information that way.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I hope you have a great day.
You too. And Sean and I are here to help you. So reach out to us on Awaken Health Pod on Facebook. If you need any questions answered, we'll guide you, and we're here for your support. Until next time, stay happy and healthy.
That's right. Bye, guys.